Hey YouTube, this is Lucky from Lucky and Butt Wipe on Twitch TV, and today I'm going to bring you a quick little video to go over a review of all the exotic Titan armor. I'm going to classify all the different Titan armor, explain to you where the Titan armor is most useful. For me, I've had 3 Titans since the game's launch. I've always liked Titans. Recently I made a Warlock, but for the entirety of the game's lifespan I've had nothing but Titans, so I do know quite a bit about Titans and their armor. I of course own every exotic armor piece for the Titan and have owned them for quite a while, and I've used all of them to a large extent, so I think that my knowledge on Titan armor is pretty extensive and can bring some good insight to you if you're interested in knowing what Titan armor is the best. So the first thing I'm going to go over are the Titan helmets. So the only 4 current Titan exotic helmets are the Glass House, the Helm of Saint 14, the Insurmountable Skull Fort, and the Helm of Inmost Light. Now, out of these 4, my personal favorite one would of course be the Helm of Saint 14. It is just an incredibly good helmet to have the Titan bubble blind anyone who enters it. It also has the perk Increased Melee Attack Speed, which isn't really that impressive. More super energy from non-guardian kills, which is helpful when playing PvE. And the best perk, of course, is that the Ward of Dawn blinds enemies who enter it. Now, this isn't a perfect perk because a lot of times what will happen is knights will enter in and melee you before they get blinded, and so they'll actually kill you before they even get the blind effect affects them. So often you need to be careful when you're using this and how you use this. A bubble with Saint 14 or a Ward of Dawn with Saint 14. But for the most part, if you're going to use the Defender class, the Helm of Saint 14 is often one of the best ones to use, and in my opinion, the #1 best exotic piece for a Titan. Now, going on to the next one, I'm going to go down the list. The second most important helmet to me would be an Insurmountable Skull Fort, and the reason why is because the Replenish Health when you pick up an orb perk is the most beneficial perk for Crota's End hard mode. In Crota's End hard mode, there is no health regeneration, there's no chalice, and so you need to have a helmet that has the ability to regain health for you by picking up an orb, and you need to have your team drop you lots of orbs in order to be able to run through Crota's End hard mode very effectively. You could do it without. You could do Crota's End hard mode with Saint 14 or any helmet for that matter, and we have beaten it for people who don't have Insurmountable Skull Fort, and I've beaten it before I had it, and so it's entirely possible to beat it without it, but it makes it incredibly more easier to have that. If you don't have it, you can also get the raid helmet right here. I have this one, is the Willbreaker's Watch, the raid helmet from Crota. And you see the perk there is Replenish Health each time you pick up an orb, but that one is random. That perk could also be like this one, which says Replenish Super Energy when you kill an enemy with a grenade, and that doesn't help you. You need that perk, Replenishes Health each time you pick up an orb of light. And that can be really hard to get that helmet. It actually was my 10th helmet that had that one, or my 10th helm. And so it took me a while to get that one actually. You can see here I have this one has Replenish Super Energy, and this one is also Replenish Super Energy. So there's a lot of different ones that you can get, but the most important one is to have that Replenish Health one. And so the second most important helmet to me would be an Insurmountable Skull Fort, due to the fact that it's the most helpful with Crota. Now the third best helmet, in my opinion, would be Glass House. Glass House perks are Increased Melee Attack Speed, similar to Saint 14. It has Replenish Super Energy when you kill an enemy with a grenade, which is very helpful. You're going to be killing people with grenades, and so you can help you get your super back. That's nice. And the best perk, of course, would be the Blessing of Light and Weapons of Light last longer. Now that perk is definitely more effective when you're running in and out of the bubble or the Ward of Dawn, to have that added time to the Blessing of Light or the Weapons of Light. But for the most part, you can continuously strafe in and out and regain those effects, so I don't find it to be the most helpful perk. It does add a few more seconds to your Blessing of Light or your Weapons of Light, but not so much so that it makes it that much of an effective advantage to have that perk. So I do like the Glass House. I think that its perk is nice, and it's nice that it's an all intellect helmet, but I would say that it is the third best helmet for the Titan. Now the fourth best, or in my opinion the worst helmet for the Titan, would be the Helm of Inmost Light. And I hate to be too negative on the Helm of Inmost Light. The poor guy gets picked on too much, but its perks are, in my opinion, not good at all. And frankly, I don't ever use the Helm of Inmost Light. Its perks are reduced melee cooldown when you pick up an orb, which can be helpful to have more melee, I suppose. Provides Death from Above and Headstrong for Fist of Havoc. Both of those perks aren't really that helpful for Fist of Havoc. It can be helpful to jump and get a longer distance with it, yes, and it can be helpful when you jump and then aim your Fist of Havoc down, but for the most part, they're not actually the most helpful perks. And in comparison, especially to Saint 14 and Glasshouse and Insurmountable Skullfort, its perks seem very lackluster to me, and it also has the increased melee attack speed, and so personally I almost never use the Helm of Inmost Light. Its perks are of course more tiered towards PvP in my opinion, but even then I would say I would rather use Armamentarium for PvP than any of these helmets. Alright, moving on down the list, we have the gauntlets. So we have Ruin Wings, which is, in my opinion, the best gauntlets and the second best overall exotic armor piece for Titans. They're just amazing. They allow more heavy ammo to drop more often, and each pack will pick up more ammo, so you'll get, instead of getting 2 rockets per pack, you'll get 4 rockets per pack, and that is, of course, if you have the raid boots already. The raid boots now allow you to get 2 rockets per pack, and these will now allow you to get 4, so it's a very incredible perk. And not only that, but heavy ammo will drop more often because of them, so they're an incredible exotic armor piece, and truly one of the most valuable ones for the Titan. In my opinion, the second most valuable one, only because the Helm of Saint 14 is so versatile in its ability to be placed in variety of places and be able to blind enemies, and has traditionally throughout the raids, the raid bubble with Saint 14 has been very useful in all the raids and all the different spots. There's always a good time and a good place to put down a bubble with a blinding helmet, and so I still have to give the number 1 spot to Saint 14, but number 2, and a very close number 2, almost tied, is Ruin Wings. Now I'll go on to no backup plans. No backup plans, in my opinion, aren't very useful for most things. What they do is they increase the duration of Force Barrier, and Force Barrier is an effect that happens when you kill an enemy with a melee attack. Now, it can be useful for certain scenarios to have an extended duration of Force Barrier because you can reload very fast, and you can do a variety of other things like produce orbs by getting more melee kills. So there is a time and a place for no backup plans, and I have found a few uses here and there, but for the most part I don't actually use backup plans very often, and I find them to be one of the more lackluster exotic armor pieces for the Titan. Moving on down the list, we're down to the chest piece, and coming to the Armamentarium. Now this one is a one that I really like a lot. You can carry an additional grenade, you can carry more ammo for heavy weapons, and you can carry more ammo for special weapons. So all 3 of its perks are really nice perks actually. They work exceptionally well for PvP, and me personally, when I'm playing PvP, I use the Armamentarium more than any other exotic piece. I find it very helpful to have 2 lightning grenades, and that's assuming you're using the striker class, of course. And I just really like the armor piece in general. It works really well, and it's one of my favorites. Going on down, I have the Crest of Alpha Lupi. Now, I did have it actually fully upgraded. Mine, a little secret for you guys out there, mine had Intellect 130, and Xur offered the upgrade for it to 162 Intellect, so I actually paid the 7 grand or whatever it is to upgrade it from 130 Intellect to 162 because it's just such a significant amount, which is something you can do at any point in time. So I did have a fully upgraded Crest of Alpha Lupi, and I just recently upgraded it through Xur so that it would have more intellect. And so the Crest of Alpha Lupi is very useful. In its most important perk, in my opinion, is that when you place a Ward of Dawn down, instead of dropping 2 Orbs of Light, it will actually drop 3, and that is incredibly useful in a variety of different situations. You can use that to pull off the prank that we've done before in the Crucible, where you can, if you have 5 Titans that have Crest of Alpha Lupi, and you have 1 Hunter with a golden gun, you can place down infinite bubbles. And so one Titan places down a bubble and he drops 3 orbs, another one places down a bubble, drops 3 orbs, and on and on and on. With 5 Titans you can drop just countless orbs down, and then you can have 1 Hunter running around with a golden gun, and he can just shoot endless golden guns. We actually made a funny video of this. It was on our live stream, on our Twitch live stream actually. And so you can do a lot of fun things with this. And the Crest of Alpha Luffy has its place in that it can revive people faster, which can be useful, especially when playing the 3 vs 3 game mode in the Crucible, and skirmish, that is, and it can also be useful in dropping more orbs. But for the most part, I don't use it that often, but it is a fairly useful one for certain scenarios. Now going on to the boots would be the MK44 stand-asides. Thankfully they do have the perk carry more ammo for heavy weapons. Without that they would be certainly incredibly useless, but thankfully they have that because all the other raid boots have the same perk, and so at least they match that. And then they add the nice but interesting perk that you can increase the duration of shoulder charge while it remains active. And so basically what that means is the little wind noise that's made when you're running and you're prepped to do a shoulder charge will last longer, allowing you to get more shoulder charges effectively, because you'll be able to run around with that wind or that shoulder charge activity time longer. And so these can be useful if you really like to shoulder charge in the Crucible primarily. I would assume you wouldn't be shoulder charging too many people in PvE. So for the most part these are going to be for the Crucible, but in my opinion they are not nearly as good as the Armamentarium. Being able to throw 2 lightning bolt grenades is so much more useful than being able to shoulder charge countless enemies, although they can be incredibly fun. So that's it, guys. That's the Titan exotic armor review for you. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, if you'd give this video a like, I greatly appreciate it. Also, if you want some help beating Crota and you play PS4, Destiny on PS4, you can definitely check out our Twitch stream. I'll post a link down below, and you can check us out. We'll help you beat Crota. We have a lot of fun streaming and helping people beat Crota daily, and so go ahead and join us on there if you're interested. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and have a good night.